So my name is Eric from Dodo. I'm head of strategy. Today I'm just going to talk about the intent-based DeFi protocol design. So I think intent-based product has already been in the space for quite a long time. So today I'm just going to explore some of the kind of existing examples and also trying to predict some interesting new protocol designs, and also presenting like the new version of Dodo, which also around a intent-centric. So I guess we've been. So what does kind of like generalized intent look like? Suppose you want to buy some like a baseball ticket, and you want certain constraints, and you want several seats together, whatever, and you specify your budget limit, like $200. And then for this type of things, it's not really far away from the crypto world, because you can, if you imagine that these events, maybe they're token gated, and all the tickets are actually kind of an NFT, and then you're simply just actually express your intent to buy these NFT tickets, and then someone would fulfill to you if they actually to see there is a an arbitrage to be taken. So this is like an NFT like a token trading. Now let's think about something more basic, I would say, about the simple DeFi use cases which involve some a little bit intense. So for example, first case would be you can run a transaction when the gas is low enough, and I'm sure that in the bull time, then when gas shoot up high, you often have to wait until it drops and do something. But if you do a kind of intent-based kind of thing, and you can specify, okay, I'm just willing to pay like a $20 gas fee in any token, and then they can have it, the solvers can actually have it down for you when the gas is low, because when the gas price drops below $20, they see an opportunity to take in some profit, and there's a round for you. And then you can also think about doing like a compounding, like claim reward, sell and restake, and these normally done using another, contract to do that, but you can also use intent base to incentivize the solvers to do it for you. And a third use case will be like airdrop farming, and in that case, like when you go to a specific new chain and you would like to do some like meet their criteria, you probably want to do some volume-based trading. You want to swap Southern token in index A. You can want to bridge token to a specific chain and swap token, do LPs, and do some lending things, and which can be probably having to one single bracket someone did it for you, and it's very, very simple. You don't have to spend a lot of time to do so if you specify your intent. Another one would be kind of mimic centralized exchange, the function. You can sort of, in centralized exchange, because there's no gas, therefore a lot of things that can be done easily. For example, you can do kind of basic market making in a centralized exchange where you can buy low and sell high, but it can also, you also need to go to these exchange to listing these orders. But what if you can actually set up some conditional intents, which kind of linked through each other? It's also the last point of a sequential intents would be one intent followed by the previous one, which has been met. So for example, you can sell your Ethereum at 2,000, and then have its next intent I want to buy at like 1,800, etc., etc. So these are some of the simple use cases. And then we have already been seeing a lot of intent-based use cases existing right now, and the most predominant one, I guess 90% of chance when you talk about intents, probably are like just limit orders, which means that you want to buy X amount of token with X amount of A token with Y amount of B tokens. And then you already see a lot of leading, I guess, protocols already doing this one, like Uniswap X, CowSwap, 1inch, and then they're kind of doing like an RFQ model with like the solver to settle these buy and sell orders. So, but this is just actually a tip of the iceberg for the use cases of this intent thing. So it's really, there are other protocols in the DeFi can actually use the intent-based mechanism. So for example, P2P lending, which probably won't see that much in DeFi, but in NFTFi that you are doing a lot of things is expressing your intent to lend some, to borrow some Ethereum with your NFT as collateral, or you're willing to lend some Ethereum and on this specific NFT, basically. So these are an intent. Yes, and then the solver can actually, in this case, they can compete each other, and really they can actually find some, interest rate difference here, and then. And then we're talking about like liquidation of a lending protocol. It's already actually in the intent base, because really the intent here is like it's like a conditional intent. Say when collateralization ratio drops to like 120%, I would like to sell this collateral so that I can get the capital back to cover the lender's money, and then by doing so, I mean, okay, you can get like 10% of this profit. So this incentivizes the liquidation bots, all the solvers to do so. And then when you come into the yield protocols, like there are a lot of, I'm talking about a bunch of strategies like ABCD, and then the intent would be like, okay, the user don't know that which one would generally have a better yield, or they don't want to bother to do the portfolio management. What they simply like said, okay, I just want to optimize for my return, but just using the following strategies. And then the difference between these type of intents and with the actual swap intents is because for the swap or the other things, they have a very fixed outcome, which you definitely can determine who can be the winner, because as long as someone actually offer higher price, you definitely would go for that. But for the yield, you probably want to think about other ways. So maybe it's more kind of like an interest rate swap, where the solvers would give you some stable income, say like 3% to 4%, but which is fixed, and you are actually can get a stable income. But when they took your the money, they have to invest in the certain strategies. But whatever the loss or the gain they take, they have to take it. But they could end up with maybe say 10%, which they actually can get a profit from that, or you can probably lose from that because simply the strategy don't actually yield that much. But in this case, it's more like an interest rate swap. A user want to have a more stable. They want to sacrifice the potential of getting a higher yield, but they want to have some stable income for that. And then also, this one is very interesting for the Alpine. So there are a lot of projects that were doing liquidity management on, say, for example, Uniswap V3. And what they do is that they have a smart contract, and then they have some like rebalancing rules. And once these conditions are met, they will actually auto rebalance your your LPs, and this helps the management. But the problem is that there's so many kind of strategy on market making these days, and implementing these new strategy taking a lot of times, and also like this strategy actually kind of evolved over time. Therefore, why don't we just outsourcing this strategy to a server? They don't have to actually have all the rebalancing rules on a smart contract, but they just off-chain, but they just provide the rebalancing strategy at the time of the rebalancing. Yeah. Okay. So now we look at a couple, few cases of these DeFi intents, and we actually do a summarize of their characteristics. So, what I found is that there are three kind of characteristics for this. First one is that there's a trend to outsourcing more like complex trend to like a professional solvers. Where they can tend to specialize in this one, sometimes actually have a better price, which will also better outcome, and also would reduce the operational risks. For example, in the case of a cow swap, a user can actually also avoid an MEV attack using cow swap as well. Secondly, user are willing to compensate solver for their service and get a much stable yield. So for example, if in the AMM model they encounter like a slippage or something, they're not uncertain, but for the intent limit order, they can actually get a specific price, so that's much predictable yield. And also, the third one is the competition between the solvers, so will drive even better outcome for a user. So if in a healthy like a competition environment that there are a lot of solver, for the user definitely their profits will be much thinner, which means that the outcome for the user will be much better. It's kind of similar as if they do it themselves. Then why don't they just pay just a little bit of money to have a professional do it for them? Yes. So all these things, like I was trying to talk about here, is Dodo is actually also developing a intent-centric like protocols, which actually do share the similar characteristics of these three here. And then it's called Dodo V3, and we haven't have a actual name for that yet. We have been working on this new version for the past 7 months, and then it's currently in beta testing. Hopefully it will be released to public by the end of next month. So for Dodo V3 is a leverage market making pool for market makers, where we actually don't we actually refer to this market maker as SP, or strategy providers, or solvers in this case if you want. And the LPs, they don't actually supply, the tokens into the pool. They don't supply the pairs into the pool. They only supply single token the pool, and then get a stable yield for the normal user. So what it does is actually these strategy providers, they borrow assets from the large LP pool to do the market making and share the profits with LPs, and so that LPs have stable income and they don't have to suffer the impermanent loss. So what we for the past 2 years, we've been dealing with the market makers that we close work with. We finding that they're constantly making a decent amount of API, while the retail user, they don't know how to do the rebalancing. They're constantly suffer the impermanent loss, and then at the end of the day, that we think that why don't we just design a protocol that let user to land the market maker money and let the professional do their own things to do the market making. So Yeah, this is about V3, so I can use the graph to explain it more. So they're market makers. Here, they're the pool owners, and then when they can create a specific pool to market and make sell, these pools are mixed token pools to increase the capital efficiencies, and then this pool, they have to deploy a margin into the pool first, and then they have to use their LP position as the collateral, because at the end of the day, it's a kind of a lending product. We have to, make sure that our retail user we will make them whole if the market maker did have some loss incurred in the market making, and then there also a liquidation process will trigger if their margin is kind of dropped to like 120% or 130% of the entire portfolio, and so we will guarantee that the retail user get their money back. So when they have a lot of market maker, and each market maker they can spin up different number of pools, and but they actually lending the money from the same pool for the LPs. So the reason why you want to use actually the beauty of Dodo V3 is that it actually other than other lending protocols, because when you put a collateral, the collateral is sitting there idle. They don't do anything. But if you use the LP position as the collateral, they can actually do market making at the same time. Therefore, it's increasing capital efficiency. Now we kind of have these things, and we kind of introduce these strategy providers to have a competition within themselves. So firstly, there's a based interest rate for all the funds taken out from the pool. And then once the capital utilization ratio raises, the base interest will also increase. And once, because if you think about if there are two strategy or two market makers, one of them is super profitable. What they were going to do is they're actually going to lend more money from the pool and then decrease the utilization ratio. And after that, the base interest rate would also increase, which for the other one didn't perform well, would actually have more cost of market making, and then will be literally like a drive out of the market. Therefore, it's kind of a more dynamics to optimization for the best market maker and for the best market making strategy. This will push for like the optimal return for the entire liquidity pool. And additionally, we're also adding a little bit. Another feature is that when these market maker actually make money, say they make 50 or 60% APY, the LPs also can enjoy a bonus based on their performance as well. So which means that like only the best strategy would exist, and then this would also benefit the LPs. Yes, as you can see, it's kind of if I go back, say that it's kind of meets these kind of three criteria, which I really defined for the DeFi intents. Was first is to outsourcing these complex rebalancing or market making strategy to professional market makers, so that you can get a better outcome. Because instead of you just passive LP and losing money, you can actually share as a market maker's profit, and also they're willing to compensate for them, because eventually the market maker has to be making profit in order to actually lend your fund in order to market make. And also there are competition between these market makers, strategy provider or solvers. which would be better, drive better outcome for the users. So I'll kind of define it as more. It's a little bit intent-centric like model for Dodo v3. The intent it kind of be a little bit vague here. So kind of like I wanted to, for a user, I wanted to do some market making, but I don't know how to do. Can I just ask someone to market make it for me? It's something like that intent, but it doesn't have that specific intent thing. But it's yeah, but you kind of get the ideology about that. So yes, and this is the last slide actually. So what I'm seeing this kind of the trend for the future of the DeFi intents is that there will be more and more actually professionals that expertise in specific field, and then these people would actually, particularly do more related to some off-chain methods, mechanism. So these people are willing to monetize their expertise in the way that I can find a better outcome, a better outcome for the other people. Therefore, they can make the money out from it. And then the retail user, they kind of lose the, they don't have to do the specific things themselves. They just have to focus on express their intent. Say, I just wanted to borrow some money, I just want to swap some money, I just want to have a stable yield, and that's it. And this extremely, I guess, increased user experience for this retail users. And then also, this is, and also what I think is very interesting as we evolve. I think there will be more like much complicated intense things. They could require like multi-step solutions for that. And then what I think some of the solver would actually construct these multi-step intents. So we have specialized server in the specific intents, but you also have the server on the on the macro side. They actually construct these specific intents at each steps, and because of these like sort of specialization, and I would foresee there will be an increasing adoption of the intent-based mechanism across various products. And I think, but once that happens, there will be a the need of like a kind of aggregation. Even these days, when you have CowSwap 1inch and Uniswap X, there wasn't. I guess they have different interpretation. There wasn't actually a unified way to say, for example, can aggregate their server at the same time, or for a server they have to onboard, say, both these three platforms. Each platform, they have different criteria. Some of them requires you to stake a large chunk of money, and then also you have to, it's definitely an increased cost for the maintenance as well. So I think this space actually need to establish a more like a standardized like a framework in order to actually deal with the intent, so that they can actually be aggregated well, I think. Yeah, thank you. And then that's about it. It's some thoughts of the intent-based mechanism, and then the new Dodo version 3. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any questions here?
Yes.
Maybe I can leave a comment here. So it's not a question, because I'm really astonished to see what you are speaking about. I want to say first thing first is that I like your idea, or I should say, I like you naming it as intent-centric protocol. I should say, like, we share the same vision with you. We also think that, like, what you mentioned, that Uniswap or like 1inch or like, it's one of the other one. Oh, CoSwap. Yeah, they also let's see, in your example, you use linear order, I remember that, yeah. Yeah, so they are actually AMM design, but they enable linear order, which is actually a CEX kind of like, so usually more in traditional exchange, but now it's happening in the crypto, in Web3, especially on-chain. I think for call protocol, for Uniswap, actually they use like hook design to achieve this, but I don't know. Like,
no, I think Uniswap they just released,
before making white paper, right?
Yeah.
It's great, yeah. So I just want to say I totally agree with your idea about this. Like they are all kind of like internet protocol or intercentric protocol to make it happen. And I totally agree with your idea is that we may need an aggregator or may need a internet framework for because like all different protocols they use all different kind of framework. I realized the Uniswap before it's code and I say their licenses are commercial license cannot other DEX cannot use it. So yeah, so actually that's why we are building we are a layer one. Why we are building a framework. I will also be a speaker after Qidao, and then I will speak about our framework to support this kind of internet network protocols.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward and keen to see what you can present here. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Oh no, no question actually. I understand you. I totally agree with you actually. So share the same vision.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any other questions here? Okay, thanks for your sharing.
Okay, thank you.